puedes correr, pero no te puedes esconder.
Here we go.
Oh!
They keep coming.
Puede ser.
It's my lucky day. Oh. One thing. Ways closed. You got to be kidding me. Oh, sorry. There you go.
Okay, so that worked. It's just so dumb that you can't do this stealthily, and like the method I found should make sense. With using your bullets to actually draw the enemy's attention away to certain parts, but this guy here, he's just programmed to know where you are. It's the same with the other enemies. If you just cross this threshold over here, or if you just go to any part of this middle area over here, if you approach any of the enemies in this middle area, you'll get spotted for no reason. And also, those enemies right there, the ones I use the grenade on, if I try to stealth kill them, they'll just know where I am. You cannot lay a hand on these enemies at all. So the way you'll just want to do this is, you'll want to make sure that you're walking like this, and also you want to make sure you just skip that previous area there, because when you're in that previous area, the enemies here are moving, so you got to get through that area very fast, so that the timing is always going to be the same, where this guy with the hat is just going to be moving to the right, and then this woman is going to go up there. So you walk like this, hugging the right-hand side. As soon as you cross this threshold, just start running, because he won't be able to hear you, then you can stealth kill her. You then maneuver back around, and then kill that woman over there. And then you need to shoot the gun from the position that I used in order to draw the attention of this guy. And you want to kill the old man, the one with the beard, because the other guy with the axe, you can't actually stealth kill him without alerting the enemies, because he's so far into the threshold. If you pull yourself into him using the stealth kill, you'll get spotted, which is dumb. So the threshold for this middle area seems to end right around here. So if you see this axe guy just on this decline over here, don't even bother stealth killing him. Just don't stealth kill him overall. But once the old man is dead, you need to mantle through this window. It's going to make noise, but the enemies are not going to be attracted to the noise. You then grab the grenade, mantle back over the window, and then come over here, fire your pistol 3 times. You have to do it 3 times in order to get the enemies to start moving. Very strange that it would work like that. But you hide in this hut over here, and specifically inside of here, because I've had times where I've hidden on this side of the wall right over here. And when the enemies were inspecting this house, when originally I was shooting from inside of this house when the door was open, they would somehow spot me through the wall, and I just imagine this holds, even when you're just using the method that I showed here, where you fire your pistol 3 times from this spot. So just hide inside of this hut. The 4 enemies that are not tied to the police officer who was burning, you know, like there are those 2 guys just praying to the guy who's burned. So the 4 enemies that are not tied to that threshold, they're going to come over here and investigate the noise, and they'll be stuck like this perpetually. There's not really a state that they go into where they're finished investigating and they go back to their initial positions. They stay investigating this spot where you shot at perpetually. But when they do that, you pretty much need to use grenade from this corner right over here and just take them out. The grenades will have varying damage because, of course, I'm playing on 60 FPS. The grenades' damage will be less. The higher your frame rate, the less your grenades will do damage. I've never heard of that in the game ever, where the higher your frame rate, the less damage you'll do. What does that have to do with an explosion? That doesn't make any sense, and I can't reduce the frame rate to 30 FPS on this game. It's impossible. Even if I set the game to prioritize resolution rather than frame rate, it's still going to be locked to 60. I'm guessing it's like 45 frames per second, but it's still going to achieve the same results. But that pretty much allows you to kill at least 7 enemies before the actual objective for fighting the enemies off begins. And this is where you'll at least have some kills contributed to the kill counter, because you have to kill at least like 16 to 19 enemies, I would say. I don't know why the kill counter varies, but the enemies that spawn from out of bounds, when you reach that threshold in the timer where the enemies will start spawning, they're not going to spawn in yet, even though I've technically reached the kill counter that should spawn them in. Because they seem to only spawn in and be logged in the kill counter when the objective for fighting them off actually shows up. But resuming what I was saying, so after you kill the 4 enemies, you then kill the other enemies that rush you. I like to stand my ground in this hut, just so I can focus them here. And in case they swarm me, I can just back up over here. But of course, the detection on the mantling is terrible because of the camera. Like, watch. You can see the detection for vaulting over. As soon as I turn the camera away, it just disappears because for some reason camera direction is a factor to consider with mantle detection and other forms of actions. You have to have the camera facing in the direction the character's facing. It's so stupid. It's been an issue since Resident Evil 2 Remake, and they still haven't fixed it with these third-person Resident Evil engine games. But you kill them, and then you can probably still wait in this hut a bit, even after you hear enemies in the distance screaming, indicating that they're spawning in. So you can probably stay around this area here and funnel the enemies down this corridor while still avoiding the axes, so that there will be less enemies along this middle path, and there will be less of them blocking your way to the house. But you go inside of the house, stay near the ladder at all times, but of course you'll want to crouch so that you don't get hit by the axes, and of course because you're close to the ladder, you'll need to back up a bit so that you can actually hit the enemies when they climb over, so that you can hit them with the shotgun. And you just repeat this process until eventually the chainsaw man comes up the ladder, you kick it, and then you just stop the enemies that are coming to the windows. If you hear enemies bashing the windows, you'll pretty much need to kick the ladder down and just start prioritizing them. And just manipulate the ladders as such, and that should help with doing the sequence. It's interesting, and at least you have a grenade left over in case you need to use it as a backup, or if the enemies are stacking up on this bottom area over here trying to get on the ladder. They only seem to do that if the ladder's intact. If you kick it, they'll move on to this ladder right over here, so you'll not be able to get cluster kills with grenades. So timing that is very important, and also putting the axes is important. But it still doesn't change what this sequence is. It's still a really stupid sequence, and just the artificial means that the game forces you into combat is so dumb. Like, I've found ways of actually getting to this door over here without being seen by the enemies and without them, like, noticing me. But as soon as I cross this threshold over here, everyone just knows where I am. It's physically impossible to do the sequence in pure stealth. You can only use the stealth as a way to complement the combat. And just like what I said previously in that other village fight video that I did for professional difficulty, the developers just aren't comprehending their own designs very well, and they clearly designed this sequence with flinch animations in mind. The random flinch animations don't add anything to this section and just add more to just bull crap and just poorly designed encounters, mechanics that you just cannot trust properly. It forces you to rely upon holes and exploits like crazy, and just gaming the system, having so much technical knowledge of how the game works to an absurd degree. It just ruins what the sequence is. It just turns it into a stupid running simulator where you're just running around like a headless chicken. And it just looks so stupid and silly and goofy. But at least with this strategy, it'll at least mitigate some level of stupidity from this entire intro. An intro that speaks volumes as to how badly designed this entire pre-alpha is.